As I was saying in my last video, the twins in this story, Daniel and Samuel, are aged 12-year-old twin boy angels, and kind of fits with something today. I was just saying how we are 48 days away from Friday the 9th of March 2018, and 48 is the value of the word rude. It's also the value of the word evil, and Daniel is described as being the evil twin in this story by the famous R.L. Stine, famous for the Goosebumps series. And I actually felt goosebumps when I found this book, because I wrote Red Rain equals 69 for the very first time on the morning of Saturday the 31st of October 2015, which was Halloween. And so the very first time I wrote Red Rain equals 69, which is what those letters add up to by their place in the alphabet. And I knew that as the name of a song by Peter Gabriel. But then I go to the Queanbeyan Library to use the Wi-Fi there because we had no internet. I'm sitting there, I'm using my laptop, and I look up and boom. So weird. Not even 2 hours since I had written Red Rain equals 69. Coincidence? Well, that's what I call a meaningful coincidence. So rude equals 48. Daniel is both rude and evil in this story. Evil equals 48 too. And some would say Samuel's evil as well. I guess Samuel is evil as well, but Daniel's the... what would you say? Daniel's the instigator, the schemer of the two, and that's why he's described as the evil twin. Daniel's the one who lusts for power over other people and wants to rule the school. So, we are 48 days away from Friday, 9th of March 2018, and Thursday the 12th, the age of the twins is 12. Thursday the 12th of May 2016. 666 times 3 plus 6 times 3 equals 2016. And when I saw this message in a dream, it was on Saturday, the 12th of May 2012. So this date is 4 years after I saw this message as I was waking up from a dream. Couldn't remember the dream, but I could remember the message, which was odd enough for me to write it down. And 45 is the value of my name, Phil. It's also the value of the name Daniel in this story. Daniel's the evil twin. Samuel, his brother, has psychic ability, including pyrokinesis, which makes him quite dangerous. So, taking the date that is 4 years after the date when I saw this message, and this date was a Saturday, the date when I found this book was a Saturday, Halloween 2015, and, or should I say the book found me, and so a couple of Saturdays, and today is Saturday, and today is 48 days. Today is Saturday the 20th of January 2018, and it is 48 days from today until Friday the 9th of March 2018. And my best friend turns 27 on this date, and that's my friend who I was cut off from by Immigration and Border Protection because of their policies. And I have to say, their policies are racist policies because they are not applied fairly or evenly. And my best friend, my former partner, is from central southern India. so he is a dark-skinned guy. Daniel and Samuel in this story are not dark-skinned, but they are kind of tanned, and they have darker skin than some of the characters in this story. But they're blue-eyed and blonde-haired, and you'd sort of say they're of Aryan appearance. And of course, Aryan, the Nordic blonde, blue-eyed look for a boy, is what Adolf Hitler was obsessed with. So Daniel and Samuel kind of like could be poster boys, identical twin poster boys, for the German Nazi Party, or for the Australian Department of Immigration and Border Protection. Anywhere from around, I don't know what year you'd pick. It's been a while now since they've been keeping dark-skinned, black-haired, brown-eyed people mostly locked up in detention centres, which just smacks to me of racism. And yeah, they wouldn't. I threw over $10,000 away trying to do a partner visa, and I've got no money refunded, so I think I've got a good reason for making a prophecy against the Australian Department of Immigration and Border Protection. And it doesn't really matter if what I think is going to happen happens or not, because red rain equals 69. The government has definitely riled me up in a way, so Riley seems to fit, because Riley also equals 69. The value of red rain, the value of red boy. Both the twins are red at one point in this story because they walk out of a blood red rain. And the blood red rain is the blood of the victims. The victims of a hurricane. Hurricane Ernesto, I think his name is, in this story. I could probably tell you if I have a little sticky beak. Yes, it's in this chapter. I think it's called Ernesto. And currently in Australia, we're up to, what was the last cyclone called? Joyce. So we've had Dahlia. Dahlia was named by the Indonesians at the same time that Mount Agung was erupting in Bali. Cyclone Dahlia was named just below Java, Indonesia. And then we had, so Dahlia was followed by, what was the next one? Irving was the second last one. Joyce was the last one we had. And Hilda was the one after Dahlia. So we've had Dahlia, Hilda, Irving, the sneaky brat, who formed just inside Australian waters and then left Australian waters, and I hope Irving asked permission from Peter Dutton before leaving Australian waters, because if he didn't, that would make him very naughty, as well as sneaky. So yeah, Ernesto is the name of the hurricane in this story by R.L. Stine, I think. And I know the name does get a mention in here somewhere. I'm going to find it too. I have to find it because I need to know that I've told you the right name for this hurricane. See, it says here, it mentions the hurricane, but I can't find the name at the moment. So you just have to trust in my memory when I tell you that the hurricane is named Ernesto. Yes, Ernesto. So the one I'm thinking is Riley, and the one after Riley is Savannah. Riley and Savannah. And they could be twins, who knows? They won't be identical twins, because identical twins are always the same sex. So it could be just Riley on Friday the 9th of March, 2018. But I think Savannah will happen as well. And yeah, I think now I will play you a bit of news, because what's in the news at the moment is about the energy crisis. And a point I've made about Australia's political system and its government is that everything just seems to be a case of two major parties wrestling with each other, trying to win votes for the next election. And it doesn't really matter what issue you talk about, whether it's, I don't know, it could be anything. It could be the national deficit, it could be hospital funding, it could be whatever, education. Everything just seems to be a contest between two major parties. But nowhere is this more evident than with the energy, the debate over energy, and the way climate change has been politicized by the coalition to actually mock climate science as part of your argument is pretty ridiculous when the temperature is getting so hot. And one thing I noticed from this news report is that they don't even mention the fact that 7 people died from heart attacks yesterday in Melbourne and Adelaide. Over 30 people had heart attacks. 7 died. Doesn't even get mentioned.
Good morning, everyone. Our top story: Australia's southern states, they are facing a power supply crisis, with generators unable to meet demand as the extreme heat continues. Hospitals in Victoria, they were forced to dim their lights in a bid to lower their usage yesterday. The sweltering conditions proved a major test for Victoria after the closure of the Hazelwood power plant last year. The strain on power was so great that it sparked a code yellow alert, with fears of potential blackouts.
The State's Health Department also issued a memo urging all hospitals to check their emergency generators were still in working order. Authorities have assured there's no risk to hospital patients and that critical services will be maintained. Federal Energy Minister Josh Frydenberg says the hot spell is the first real test for Victoria and South Australia after a coal-fired power plants were shut down in both states. We'll have more from Sky News Weather Channel 603 with Samantha Chiari. But temperatures, they will continue to soar in South Australia, with residents bracing for sweltering conditions this weekend. It comes after parts of the state recorded its hottest day in 5 years yesterday.
While Melbourne residents are enjoying a cooler change, authorities there say the threat of bushfires still remains.
The heatwave continues in South Australia, but authorities aren't taking any chances. The SES has reissued an emergency warning for extreme heat for the whole state. Volunteers were handing out water and information packs to overseas visitors as they arrived at Adelaide Airport. Organisers of the Tour Down Under moved forward the Stage 4 start time to give riders a break from the afternoon heat. Unfortunately, there's not much relief on the way. Temperatures will remain in the mid-30s over the weekend and possibly for most of next week too. It's a different story in Melbourne though, with a cool change sweeping through, but fire danger warnings will remain in place for other parts of Victoria over the weekend.
So those in northern Victoria need to take heed of the fire messages and also the heat messages because it remains hot.
Stacey Lee, Sky News.
An Alice Springs couple.
Yeah, so I found it. It is Ernesto. Hurricane Ernesto is the name of the hurricane in this story. And we are up to, like I was saying, we just had Tropical Cyclone Joyce, and there is signs now that we could have the next cyclone forming around midweek, this coming week, next week, however you want to put it. Today's Saturday. And it will be called Kelvin. So that brings us one cyclone closer to a potential alignment of Riley on Friday, the 9th of March 2018. But there would have to be, I worked out, about one cyclone almost every 5 days now. Pretty much a cyclone every 5 days between now and Friday 9th of March for it to be up to Riley. Because we're still only up to Kelvin. There's quite a few names between Kelvin and Riley, even though they skipped the letter Q. So, could happen. Either way, this is a prophecy, like I was saying, against immigration and border protection. And Peter Dutton, whose attitude top-down authoritarian attitude I just can't stand. Reminds me of Daniel's attitude in this story. And Daniel is undoubtedly the evil twin.